The one thing I'll say is this. Once you study Bitcoin and you get a full understanding, it changes the way you see the entire world. What's up, people? Welcome to this episode of Stack Sats or Die Trying. This is the Bitcoin Only Show brought to you by the Black Wealth Rebels and by the Hood. My name is Jimmy, your host as always, and welcome to episode 48. That is the Wes Hopkins episode, or Stephen Davis. Shout out to Stephen Davis and Wes Hopkins. It's episode number 48. And you know, I come here every week to talk about Bitcoin. So this week, I want to talk about Michael Saylor, not specifically Michael Saylor, but something that I saw him tweet the other day. He's the chairman of MicroStrategy, ticker symbol MSTR, and he's a huge Bitcoiner, probably one of the biggest Bitcoiners in the world. His corporation owns more Bitcoin than probably any other publicly traded corporation. I'm saying probably because the thing about Bitcoin is you never know. But I digress. The thing about Michael Saylor is he's constantly educating, he's constantly teaching, and he's constantly talking about Bitcoin. So he's someone that I often see what he's thinking about or talking about on Twitter as it pertains to Bitcoin. So the other day I saw him put up what he's calling his 21 rules of Bitcoin. And I want to talk about his 21 rules of Bitcoin. But like I told you guys at the beginning of this year, you know what I'm saying, we're getting back into the teaching bag. So before I get to the slide deck, I want to shout out everybody who showed love on the last episode, which wasn't a slide deck. But, you know, I got a lot of great, all positive feedback about the Hetty Green episode. So that's appreciated. I also got some more coming. What I'm calling my series is what such and such told me about Bitcoin, because the way I see the world is through the lens of Bitcoin. So I got a lot of those in store. But, you know, getting back to the presentation, because that's what we're doing in 2025. So this presentation is called Michael Saylor's 21 Rules of Bitcoin. It's a compilation of insights from Michael Saylor offering wisdom for Bitcoiners, created by myself, you know, Jimmy Williams. But let's get right into it. So like I told you, I was looking on Twitter, saw Michael Saylor. So here's exactly what he said. I'm going to read off his 21 rules, and then I'll give you my perspective on his 21 rules. You know what I'm saying? We're going mad meta today. So his 21 rules are this. Rule number 1. Rule number uno, never let. All right, my fault. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Christopher Latour Wallace. But 21 rules of Bitcoin are this. Those who understand buy Bitcoin. Number 2, those who don't criticize Bitcoin. Number 3, everyone is against Bitcoin before they are for it. Number 4, you will never be done learning about Bitcoin. Number 5, Bitcoin is powered by chaos. Number 6, Bitcoin is the only game in the casino that we all can win. Number 7, Bitcoin is the only thing in the universe that you can truly own. Number 8, everyone gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve. Number 9, only buy Bitcoin with the money you can't afford to lose. Number 10, tickets to escape the matrix are priced in Bitcoin. Number 11, Bitcoin insight is restricted to those with a need to know. Number 12, all your models will be destroyed. Number 13, the cure to economic ill is the orange pill. Number 14, be for Bitcoin, not against fiat. Number 15, Bitcoin is for everyone. Number 16, learn to think in Bitcoin. Number 17, you don't change Bitcoin, it changes you. Number 18, laser eyes protect you from endless lies. Number 19, respect Bitcoin or it will make a clown of you. Number 20, you do not sell your Bitcoin. Number 21, spread Bitcoin with love. Now, those are the 21 rules of Bitcoin from Michael Saylor. What I have to say is this, right? A lot of you guys know, because I talk about it often. I went to a school when I was younger. It was a private school here in Philadelphia called Ivy Leaf. And one of the things that they taught us in that school was, you know, to write out our thoughts. But before we do so, to kind of put things in outline form, because it helps you understand information. It helps you gather your thoughts before you start, you know, putting pen to pad, so to speak. So when I saw this, the way my brain works, because I've been trained this way, I kind of like created my own version, not necessarily my own version, but I used his information. And what I did was I felt like it fit into 6 various buckets. Those 6 buckets are this: understanding and adoption of Bitcoin, Bitcoin's nature and power, economic and financial principles, Bitcoin as a paradigm shift, immutable and transformational aspects, and Bitcoin as a long-term commitment. So I took his 21 principles. I feel like several of them fit within one of these buckets, and I'm going to give you my perspective on Michael Saylor's principles, but through my own lens, right? So I'm kind of remixing what he did here. And it's for a reason, because I feel like this is easier to understand when I kind of group them this way. But I think that it's powerful what he said. Salute to Michael Saylor. I appreciate the wisdom that he always shares and the different ways that he looks at Bitcoin. I'm actually reading one of his books right now, specifically about Bitcoin. And, we'll talk about that in a second, but let's get into it, right? Let's start with understanding and adoption. So the first part, and this comes directly from Michael Saylor's 21 rules, is you understand, then you buy. So knowledge is what drives the investment in Bitcoin. Once you do the knowledge,
nigga,
and you understand Bitcoin, you then will buy, right? So understanding is paramount to just buying Bitcoin, right? I know a lot of times people don't have a full understanding before they buy, but when you do understand, you never stop buying, right? So the next part is critics lack insight. So a lot of times when people disagree with you about Bitcoin, it's because it comes from their ignorance. They haven't done the knowledge. They haven't studied. They just do not understand Bitcoin because it is such a paradigm shift. So don't get upset when people disagree with you as you go down your journey and you start to really understand Bitcoin and you start to commit to Bitcoin and accumulate, because you'll have a lot of naysayers. I mean, half of my family and friends think I'm completely insane, but the fact of the matter is I've outperformed them, their financial advisors, most hedge funds over the last decade, well, not completely a decade, but almost a decade, just literally studying and buying Bitcoin and minding my business. So
I talk different. Y'all hear me?
So the fact of the matter is I understand they're ignorant, but it won't bother me because, I'm going to keep stacking these sats and they're going to eventually, one day it'll all make sense. Salute the comment. All right. Number 3, skepticism to support. Because what I understand that is initial resistance to Bitcoin is a common thing. Not everyone understands it, as soon as they hear about it, or even as you start to teach them. And the reason is because it's a complete paradigm shift. What encompasses Bitcoin is endless learning, which is number 4. Bitcoin is constantly evolving, and you must commit yourself to being someone who is prepared to be a constant learner. If you want to get to the point of having full knowledge yourself about Bitcoin, you have to commit to being an endless learner. Fact of the matter is, if we're being completely honest, I feel like even if you're not into Bitcoin, but you're into real estate or you're into the stock market, you like to buy ETFs, I feel like you still have to be an endless learner. I feel like once you stop learning is when you die. That's my personal perspective. So this applies to Bitcoin, but even bigger than Bitcoin, this applies to life. You must constantly be learning and constantly be evolving in order to prosper in the world. That's my personal opinion. Now, let me move the slideshow for 1 second because I want to really give you guys an understanding of how much time I put in. People talk about putting in 10,000 hours. I've put in much more than 10,000 hours. I've read hundreds. Literally, I have a stack of books on my desk next to me. I'm going to share a couple of them with you because I also like to show what I'm reading, not just the fact that I'm reading, right? So I'm going to give you a couple of them. Bitcoin and the American Dream, right? So that's one. Bitcoin Mining Economics, about mining specifically. This one from Jan Pritzer. Inventing Bitcoin, the technology behind the first truly scarce and decentralized money explained, right? So that's another one. What else do I have here? Right on my desk. The Bullish Case for Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? So that's another one. All right. Shout out to my brother Link Green. It's my homie. Here's his book. The Chemistry of Currency. Another one. Another one. All right. So shout out to Justin too. You know what I'm saying? From Bars to Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Bitcoin Vegan. This is his book, From Bars to Bitcoin. What else we got? You know what I'm saying? Bitcoin for the Working Class, The Blue Collar Guide to Financial Freedom by Captain Matt Jackson. All right. What else we got? Bitcoin in Black America by Isaiah Jackson. All right. And by the way, I have hundreds. I'm going to stop in a second. I just want you guys to understand what I'm talking about. And I've read these, right? The Bitcoin Standard, Michael Saylor was the foreword here who we're talking about. But the Bitcoin Standards by Saifedean Amos. I think this is the Bitcoin Bible right now. What else we got? Last one I'm going to share with you. And I have more, by the way. What is Money? Michael Saylor and Robert Breedlove. Again, Michael Saylor, you know what I'm saying? So the fact of the matter is you have to constantly be studying and constantly be learning. Do you have to be as wild as me? No, but this is who I am. This is what makes me. This is who I am. And you can hate me now. All right, but I digress.
No turning back now. This is what makes me.
This is what I am, feel me? You can hate me now.
So, but let's get back to the presentation though. But I have to kind of give a little bit of context to the fact that you have to be endlessly learning. And listen, I put in thousands amongst thousands of hours. It's why I currently mine. It's why I run multiple nodes. It's why I have a podcast called Stack Sats or Die Trying. You know what I mean? So let's move on. Bitcoin's nature and power, right? That's the next of my big six in terms of the way I break it down. Bitcoin is powered by chaos, and decentralization provides strength. Once you understand the power of decentralization, you start to realize that it's bigger than just Bitcoin. And that's the thing. Bitcoin teaches you about everything else. And it's also powered by chaos in terms of the fact that money is constantly being printed, the fact that all these things are going on in the world, right? That is what powers Bitcoin when you really sit back and think about it. Right? Because our money is consistently being devalued. There's all kinds of madness, going on in the world. But this Bitcoin, it gives us sovereignty and it gives us true power. Everyone can win. It's a fair financial game. I do understand that people believe that it's not completely fair because they're late to the party. They feel like those that have a lot of Bitcoin have the power, but it's not true because Bitcoin is rules without rulers. If you had $1 billion, right, and you went and bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin today, you still can't change the rules of Bitcoin, right? It's up to us node runners and miners. You can't do it. Doesn't matter how much Bitcoin you own, right? So it's actually a fair game. It's much more fair than the fiat system. It's much more fair than the fiat system. One more time in my Umar voice. It's much more fair than the fiat system, right? So everyone can win when you fully understand how Bitcoin works, how decentralization works. Everyone has the ability to win. Next point. It's truly ownable. It's the ultimate digital ownership. In Michael Saylor's words, it is the only thing that you can truly own. I come from a real estate background, and people love to talk about real estate and the fact that it's something tangible you can own. But do you actually own the real estate? Or are you just renting it from the government? Because what happens if you don't pay your taxes? What happens if they want to take your property to build a stadium? What happens if you die and don't leave it to someone within a will? What happens to your property? Do you actually own your property? Right? Talk about your brokerage account all you want to. How many people have been, locked from trading or doing whatever they want to do with their brokerage account? We've seen it happen. I've had bank accounts frozen for things that weren't even my fault, right? So what do you truly own? The one thing you truly do have the ability to own, considering you do it the right way, and that's not via the ETF or some other ways that you can do it, but you have the ability to own Bitcoin. You really do. So in Michael Saylor's words, it's the only thing you can truly own. Now, next point, economic and financial principles, right? What I'm calling deserved price. Everyone gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve because some people, when they start to study and they start to understand it, they get it. And everyone believes they're paid too much for their Bitcoin, right? I don't care if you paid $20 or you paid $20,000. Everybody is always pissed like, damn, I wish I could have got in sooner. But you get it at the price you deserve because you don't start to get serious about accumulating Bitcoin until you've done the knowledge and you know that I need to have more of this asset. I need to save in Bitcoin. This is hard money, right? That's the part about it. Risk capital only, right? So what's interesting about what Saylor says is invest what you can't lose. Most of the time people say only risk what you can lose. His point, and you have to read it carefully. He says, put in what you can't lose, right? Because again, Bitcoin is saving. So it's not about getting rich fast. It's about getting poor slow. And when you understand that it's a great store of value, you want to put in there what you can't lose, what you want to have for a long period of time. Bitcoin, it helps to escape the matrix. It offers a level of freedom that nothing else does. And what I've come to realize over the last several years is that the freedom that comes from Bitcoin is not in how much Bitcoin I have, but in the understanding of Bitcoin and the rabbit hole. That rabbit hole to me, at least me personally, was more valuable than the Bitcoin that I allegedly own because I lost it all in a boating accident. But the rabbit hole is what I truly have learned to value and appreciate because of what it made me realize about our current economic system and helped me escape the matrix, right? So the thing about it is what I'm also putting under economic and financial principles are the insights restricted. It's knowledge for those who seek it. Once people want to seek knowledge about Bitcoin and they start going down that rabbit hole and they have that understanding, it changes you. That's just the bottom line. I've never met anyone who's put the work in to learn who then doesn't become a Bitcoiner, right? when people tell me they don't believe in Bitcoin, it has no intrinsic value, it's nothing, it doesn't mean anything. I ask them, what have they read? What have they studied? And 9 times out of 10, they haven't done anything. That's why they haven't actually went to seek the knowledge. Once you do, it changes you. That's just the fact of the matter, right? The next I'll say is Bitcoin as a paradigm shift. Orange pilling someone, right? For those who don't know what orange pilling means, like, you take the orange pill, which is coming to understand Bitcoin. I see why people believe that Bitcoiners are either a cult or a religion, because of, we have our own language. It's basically a culture. We have our own language, our own way of talking, our own way of communicating. And sitting back thinking about it is actually kind of comical. But it can be a cure for economic problems, right? When you take the orange pill and you start to save in Bitcoin, everything becomes cheaper. So a lot of the economic problems that people face, I don't face because I'm a Bitcoiner, right? The next thing is be for Bitcoin, not against fiat. A lot of people that are Bitcoiners are, and I understand why. They want to just tear down the system and this Bitcoin is that and the third. But the fact of the matter is, you don't even have to be that way. I don't have to be anti-fiat to be for Bitcoin, right? I talk about this all the time because everyone knows that I'm someone who's pro-black, but because I'm pro-black doesn't mean I'm anti anything else. I spread love. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. I'm for Bitcoin. I don't have to be against fiat, because if my thesis is correct, there's no need for me to be anti-fiat, because it's going to do to it. Listen, I was listening to the new Larry June in a 2 Chainz album. Larry June is a line on there where he says, look, I ain't saying I'm better than you. It just is what it is. And I felt that, because I ain't got to say it's better than fiat. It just is what it is. It's going to play itself out. So be for Bitcoin and not against fiat, right? So Bitcoin is also for everyone. It's a global solution. I also think that people don't realize that Bitcoin is global, because a lot of times that us in the States here in North America, we have a limited worldview. A lot of people have never traveled. When you travel and you get out of your country and you go to other countries and you realize there's Bitcoiners there as well, and there's Bitcoin that are actually saving lives, and the perspective they have is completely different than us in the States, who have, banking systems that really haven't done it. Now, that's debatable too. Let me watch what I say here, because depending upon who you ask, our banking system has done us completely dirty. But what I'm saying is, our money hasn't been devalued to the point where we're taking our dollar bills and throwing them to heat up our homes, which has happened in other countries. But depending upon who you ask, our banks are just as nefarious, but they do it in different ways. Fact of the matter is, I don't have to be anti them. You know what I'm saying? In the words of Larry June, it just is what it is. Like, I'm pro Bitcoin. The last part about Bitcoin as a paradigm shift is to think in Bitcoin. It's a whole new perspective, a new way to see the world. I look at everything through the lens of sats. I'm going to do a whole show about opportunity cost, because I think it's that important. But when I look at things, I look at how many sats is that going to cost me? How many sats do I want? I stack sats or die trying. My entire life at this point, although I still do work in real estate, I still do public speaking, I'm still doing all the things that I've done in the past. But now I look at those as being fiat miners from the standpoint of getting me more Satoshis. All I want to do is stack sats, chill with my family, read books. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. All right, so the next section, immutable and transformational aspects. Bitcoin changes you. Simple as that. I mean, it's what Saylor said in his. Now, again, I'm giving you my outline, but Bitcoin changes you. It's a transformative experience, because when you take the orange pill and you go down the rabbit hole, you've done the research. It completely changes you, because you see everything different. I see the food system different. I see the legal system different. There's a book. It's called Fiat Ruins Everything. I have it over here somewhere. I think I have the digital version, which is why not in the stack. But Fiat Ruins Everything is an excellent book that goes to show how our fiat system of money literally can have an impact on all walks of life. But it's one of those things where it's almost like the DirecTV commercial, right? Where you can draw a parallel to everything going back to DirecTV. That's how fiat is. And that book is written by Jimmy Song, by the way. So look that up. Fiat Ruins Everything. Another great Bitcoin book. But when you start to go down a rabbit hole, it will change you. You'll see the world different. And I promise you that. I know a lot of folks that watch this have already started their journey. A lot of people haven't started their journey, and that's okay. The fact that you're watching the video, I salute to you anyway. Stack Sats or Die Trying as a podcast could be part of you putting in your time in terms of going down this rabbit hole. I hope so. I hope that a lot of Bitcoiners that look like me do watch the show. It's the reason I do the show, because there's a lot of Bitcoin shows out there, but everyone doesn't have my unique perspective, doesn't come from my culture, and I think it's important for us to have representation within this space. Next part, laser eyes protect. And what he means by this is when you get laser eyes, right? That's when you're fully engrossed in orange pill life. You're fully a Bitcoiner. You get those laser eyes where you are completely focused on Bitcoin. It shields you against misinformation. We are constantly at war, right? We are at war in various ways. The fact of the matter is most people don't even realize we're at war because of the way our system is set up. It's set up in a way where you have to go to work. You have to take care of your family. You don't have time to see what's really going on. Because if people really understood how inflation works, how the silent tax works, we would have pitchforks on the street. But they stay distracted by everything from what's happening into entertainment and sports and all these different things. You know, what new reality show? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't engage in those things. I love Ratchet TV, but I also know it has its place. But I also study, world news and see what's going on in the world. And the fact that I have laser eyes, it shields me from all the misinformation because I'm focused on what I should be focused on, which is why that journey, as I stated before, is the most valuable part of Bitcoin. Next, respect Bitcoin or face the consequences. This goes also along the lines of you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve. If you don't respect Bitcoin, guess what? Cost you nothing, pay you no mind. Look, I'm on my grind, cousin. All right, little Jay-Z bar right there. But
you're not feeling me fine. It costs you nothing, pay me no mind. Look, I'm on my grind, cousin. Ain't got time for fronting. Sensitive thugs, they all need hugs.
It's okay because you're going to face the consequences anyway. That opportunity cost, again, you're going to get it at the price you deserve. So if you don't respect Bitcoin, cool. But you better respect Bitcoin because if you don't respect Bitcoin, you will face the consequences. You don't know how many people, family, friends, loved ones, people that have seen me on the internet that saw me talk about this in 2016, saw me talk about this in 2017, saw me talk about this in 2018, who haven't called me until 2025. And they say, man, is it still late? I wish I would have listened. Cool. I don't get mad at them. I say, look, this is what you got to do. Bang, go to this exchange, this wallet. By the way, all the various ways I stack sats are all in the show notes anyway. You know what I'm saying? Everything from S-Miles to Full. Also, shout out to my people at Full. The new credit card is getting ready to drop. Make sure you get a Full credit card. But I digress. Let's keep it moving. Bitcoin as a long-term commitment, right? This is the next section, how I outline all of Saylor's thoughts. Bitcoin is something that you never sell. It is a store of value. Saylor looks at Bitcoin as property, as do I. I've done several episodes in this series of Stack Sats or Die Trying where I tell you that Bitcoin is a form of property and the only property you can own. And because of that, I will never sell it. I used to say that about my real estate, but now I'm at the point where I'm willing to sell real estate to buy Bitcoin. That's how committed I am. And the fact of the matter is it's because I understand the value proposition. Once you understand the value proposition, it changes. How I operate, though, I operate by combining my real estate knowledge and business with Bitcoin. So instead of just selling all my real estate for Bitcoin, every piece of property I own is a Bitcoin miner, right? It's probably a miner. Anyway, but it's a long-term commitment. The last part about the long-term commitment is spread love, man. When you learn about Bitcoin, share the knowledge. You don't have to be evil about it, but you share the knowledge because when you have family or friends and you see their money constantly being devalued, you see that their way of life is not getting better as time goes on, but it's getting worse, and you have the solution, you'll be a fool not to share it. People often wonder why I get so excited and why all I talk about is Bitcoin all day long is because it's changed my life. And why wouldn't I want to change the lives of others? Damn sure does sound like religion. Let me chill. But it's a fact. It's a fact. I pestered my wife until she got her own exchanges, her own wallets. Like it wasn't, I'm like, look, it's not just good enough for me to be doing this. You got to be doing this because this is the solution. And I know she's glad I've done that because Bitcoin has doubled in price since I told her to start doing that. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a long-term store of wealth. The way I like to communicate this is it's a get poor slow. It's not about getting rich quick. It's get poor slow because again, Muncie printer go burr. As long as they print money, Bitcoin will have value in this world. Now ask yourself this simple question. Do you think they will continue to print money? If so, in the words of Larry June, it just is what it is. All right. So key takeaways are this overall, right? So I gave you my six. This is how my brain works. Now I got 4 key takeaways, right? Bitcoin is a revolutionary technology, right? It's a revolutionary technology. Understanding is the key to adopting a Bitcoin standard. You hold it for the long term, and then you share it with love. That's how I'll bring it all together to finish this presentation. It's revolutionary technology. Understanding is the key to adoption. You got to do the knowledge.
Do the knowledge, nigga.
And you hold it for the long term, and you share it with love. That's how I feel about Bitcoin. Salute to Michael Saylor for inspiring me to, kind of break down how I saw what he communicated in my own way. I think it's powerful. And listen, man, at the end of the day, you don't have to agree with me. You can say, yo, I only watch this because, you enjoy me. And that's cool too. I love y'all. Listen, I love everyone who supports us. But I do want to say that I believe that everyone should be stacking sats. It's not investment advice. It's for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing I say on here is an investment advice because first off, you do not invest in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is currency. You save in Bitcoin. That's the first thing. Next thing, join our village. If you're in our village, you're probably watching this early, like on Monday or Tuesday, but you can do that by going to blackwealthrebels.com because I drop these early for everyone who's in the village. So shout out to everybody in the village. That's at blackwealthrebels.com. We do multiple classes during the course of the week, and that's every week. Sunday, we have our Sunday Finance Church. Wednesday, we do a show. Friday, we do a show. And we have, shorts and small things that are only for village members, where we do a lot of teaching about everything. So also we have a Bitcoin masterclass. I'm giving a Bitcoin masterclass the second week in March is how we're going to schedule it because we have a live event. Our live event is March 8th. And to get information about the live event, I'll put that in the show notes as well. Go to phillycashmob.com, phillycashmob.com to get information about the event. And our event is going to be where we go up, we pull up to this Black-owned business, which is called the River Falls Boutique, right off of Kelly Drive. We're going to have a live podcast. We're going to talk about the transfer of wealth for our community and how that works. So our sister, Courtney Richardson, will be there as well. She is an attorney and she specializes in estates. So she's going to talk about the transfer of wealth. That's going to be excellent. That's going to be on March 8th. March 9th, if you have any kids in the Philadelphia area, or if you're willing to bring them to the Philadelphia area, we have an event for high school age kids that's going on. This is from Philadelphia Inspiring Minds, which I am a board member. We will have an event on March 9th to help, another community work. What else we got going on? February 26th, myself and my brother Kamari from the Black Wealth Rebels will be at the Youth Study Center teaching finance classes to the kids that are, going through that situation. So that's coming up as well. Shout out to Yahoo. Yahoo just had us speaking to them this week. So we got a lot going on, a lot of work in the community, a lot of surprises coming too. I got something, we're going to drop in March outside of the Bitcoin class. So make sure you go to blackwealthrebels.com and sign up. In terms of just bringing everything together from, today's show, I just think it's important to really do the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a meme that I share here on the show, although I find the meme funny. And shout out to Fredro for the bar. But it's true. It's something that I believe in. I'm constantly studying. I read books all day long. So it's not just Bitcoin books, right? By the way, I got an excellent book I'm reading right now. I want to give y'all the name of this book too. Shout out to my brother, Don Johnson, man. Don Johnson was the one who recommended this book. And it's one of them ones. It's called The Plunder of Black America. The Plunder of Black America. It's a phenomenal book that I'm reading. I'm probably going to finish this whole book in like 2 to 3 days because it's one of them ones. But I'm constantly reading. But now what's interesting is because I've taken the orange pill, I went down the Bitcoin rabbit hole. As I read everything, I see it through the lens of a Bitcoiner. So I can be reading something that's, a nonfiction historical book. And it could be a bio. It could be anything. I've reread Animal Farm. Now I'm thinking about Bitcoin and how that relates to Animal Farm, right? Animal Farm, by the way, is one of the top 5 books of all time. Shout out to George Orwell. And I will argue that. But now I'm looking at that through the lens of a Bitcoiner. I just reread Devil in the Blue Dress. And I'm thinking about the fact that a lot of that had to deal with him paying a mortgage on his real estate. And I'm thinking about how would Bitcoin have applied to that? So I say all that to say it's kind of wild, but that's how I see everything through the lens of a Bitcoiner. But it's all about doing the knowledge and going down that rabbit hole. Like I just said, and I'm going to say it again to kind of bring everything together. It's revolutionary technology. Having that understanding is a key to adoption. You hold it for the long term. You save in Bitcoin. It's not an investment. And then last but not least, man, share it with love. Stack Sats or Die Trying is my way of sharing it with love, you know, because I do love y'all. And I really mean that. Like, I appreciate all the feedback. I get so much great feedback from this specific show. I have a lot of people online who are always repping for me, talking about it's the best Bitcoin show there is. And don't think that I don't see those tweets, even if I don't respond all the time, because I got a lot going on in life. But I do really, 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 really appreciate you guys. And I love you. And it's the reason that I continuously do what I do in terms of community work and just making sure Bitcoin stays in the conversation with everything else that we do from a financial standpoint. I say all that to say, like, comment, share, subscribe. That's how you know I'm not a real YouTuber, because you're supposed to say that in the beginning. You take these classes and tell you how to do. You say this in the beginning. I don't lead with that because that's not what I am, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just out here spreading Bitcoin love. So make sure you do all the YouTubing and stuff, though. I got beef with YouTube right now, man. Our page is currently demonetized. Like, see what I mean? So if you want to support the channel, I know people like to send super chats. Send it to the Cash App, man. $ by the hood. We're going to put it right back out in the streets anyway, because every Friday we do a Bitcoin giveaway. But they got us demonetized because, you know, I'll be using those memes in my videos, and some folks ain't like that. And they try to say I'll be, you know, copywriting and all that. I'm like, dog, I'm making new content. The memes are funny. You know what I'm saying? Fredro didn't say anything yet. So you're going to get a bunch of the Fredro meme, because Fredro and Vlad ain't come on my neck yet, but a lot of folks did. So I'm rumbling with YouTube now. They telling me it's a suspension. They're not going to just demonetize me. They want to suspend it. They treat me like Ron Artest out here. Like, yo, you suspend it till May. Like, I mean, come on, dog. What's going on, man? You know what I'm saying? But I'm a Bitcoiner, so it is what it is. You want to, in the words of Larry June, like, you know, it just is what it is, man. You want to demonetize me? Cool. You know what I'm saying? But you the ops right now, YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting that on the record. You are the ops. Anyway, man, love y'all. Appreciate y'all. As we say always, stack sats or die trying. Peace.